So, we are here to talk about a recent movie which is making waves in Hollywood, and that is The Black Phone. Okay. Why is it so successful? Or what has made this movie such a roaring success? And if people haven't watched this movie, I would definitely recommend that you watch it. Um, so, I'll just tell you exactly in a nutshell what the story of Black Phone is. It's about a serial killer who kidnaps children, and he kidnaps a child who is locked up in a basement, and he's trying to escape, and he gets help from a very unlikely source. He starts talking with the children who have been killed by this serial killer through a black phone, which is there in the black basement. So the premise of this movie is very interesting, and that kind of lends that creepiness or that eeriness in the movie, which kind of helps it a lot. Now, why is it such a runaway success? Why is it working so well? Okay. um, Firstly, let me tell you something. The premise is very interesting, and I had very high hopes from this movie when I started watching it, because it's directed by Scott Derrickson. He is the person who actually directed Sinister, one of my favorite horror movies. So I was really expecting a lot. Um, based on what the premise was, I expected a little more. Okay, but it kind of delivered, but it really did not deliver to my heart's content. Now, I'm not. This could be different for other people also. If they watch it, they might say the movie is really awesome. I don't think it's that bad. I'm not saying it's bad, but I really wanted a little more. But still, this movie has worked. It has worked wonders in the box office. It's been made for a shoestring budget of about $16 million, and it's made over $100 million. It's a kind of a success which you can probably equate with maybe the Blair Witch Project, or Saw. Okay, those are the two movies which come to top of my head, like the kind of numbers they have made. Uh, this movie has made some numbers like that. Think about it: a $16 million movie which has made over $100 million in the box office. Now, the reason it has worked is, number one, the premise, because people were sick and tired of getting serial killer movies wherein the serial killer is after women, after like nowadays if you watch a serial killer, more or less you can spot a pattern or a trend. It has to be this, it has to be that, but you really don't have a serial killer which is menacing. Okay, so we had a serial killer here which was a little different, and which really struck at home, because the moment you say he kidnaps children and kills them, immediately your attention is arrested, and you really start hating a wild creature like that. Okay, so that is exactly what I would say was a very pulling factor when it came to this movie. He was a serial killer and he kills children. Now that is like, okay, that is something which we shouldn't miss, because the threat perception is very high when you think about it, and it strikes very close to home, because if we have a child at home or something, and this is something is there, like, you really want to watch it and you want to really either be repulsed or but you will be fearful, because honestly speaking, all other kinds of serial killers are now, people have kind of grown used to them, literally. Second part is the setting. The movie, the setting of this movie, I think it's in the 80s, and it is taken from Scott Derrickson's childhood. Like how he used to. It's based on his childhood. So he recreates that time or that era quite beautiful, and it really works. It really works. It just you feel that you've been really transported to that time or age when you didn't have mobile phones. You had, like, you needed to come home at a particular time. This was your curfew. You could not stay out alone. So these things were there. So that forgotten era of the 80s, and when you watch it, and it's something very new. It's the people who have actually lived during that era. That nostalgia trip is awesome, and the others who haven't, they said, oh, what the hell, yeah, it's something like you're from another planet or something. It looks very interesting to them. Okay, I'm talking about the millennials. So this is something, this is how people used to live. Like, we didn't have Snapchat, we didn't have Twitter, we didn't have mobile phones, we didn't have so many things, right? We didn't have Google Map. So uh, it was definitely a very interesting era to explore, and it was very authentically done. Okay. The third part is, of course, the serial killer. The serial killer himself, Ethan Hawke, he's really done a very good job. Especially when the main protagonist is kidnapped. That is a work of art. The way the boy is kidnapped, it is just uh, probably one of the best like abductions I've seen on screen. The way the boy is kidnapped, you really don't. It's just a matter of seconds, and he's kidnapped. Even though he's a very intelligent boy, he's not a stupid guy, But it's a really good kind of a. I thought the abduction was uh, very Bundy, I mean to say, it was very Ted Bundy, Like Ted Bundy used to actually lure women, showing that he has a kind of a broken arm or something like that. So I felt that there were some interesting tricks which he played in order to abduct the boy, and that scene was very good. That really sends a shiver down your spine, because it could be just your child has gone down the corner of the street and you just realize he's disappeared. And it can happen. It was shown so convincingly, the abduction. The fourth is the mask. I think this movie is running because of the mask. Because of the mask of the serial killer. Because if you look at the mask of the serial killer, that is in the poster of the Black Phone, it is just out of the world. It is just out of the world. And we have a few established boogeymen when it comes to Hollywood horror. Okay. Um, Probably you could say Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers. Um, I think these come to top of the list. Ghostface. I think these are the people who will be remembered, right? These are the cult boogeymen, right? All the others you may talk about it, but these are the cult boogeymen. Now, Ethan Hawke's grabber is now, probably he's in that same league. Okay, the character which has been created, grabber, it's in the same league as these boogeymen, especially with the mask, his presence. There's one scene where the boy tries to escape, and Ethan Hawke is just sitting wearing the mask, and his breathing. I think that is one of the singular most horrifying scenes I've ever watched, and it's nothing. It's just one guy sitting. He's probably sleeping under his mask, but the boy just doesn't have the courage to cross him and escape. It is it is just amazing. It's one of the best scenes I've ever watched in a horror movie after a very long time. So I think these are the reasons why this is working. It's because of the premise. It's because of the boogeyman. It's very original boogeyman, and I would definitely rate him in the top five or top six boogeymen I've watched in horror movies. And I think the Grabber has a great future. What I was a little taken aback was the way the child could actually uh, outwit the killer and everything. It's a minor spoiler alert, but you can understand that in the end, good prevails and all this stuff will be there. I felt that there could have been a little more drama, a little more excitement in the proceedings. I felt it was a little. Uh, uh, it was too easy. At the end of the day, when I watched the movie in totality, the kind of build up it had, it got resolved quite quickly. I think I would have loved to see the hero maybe bleed a little more, um, the maybe a little more visceral, The ending, I really felt or thought that maybe that was one area this movie could have done a lot. But still, I would consider Black Phone to be something very new and interesting, which has a very very good future. And I'm waiting for the Black Phone 2, which will definitely come out, considering the kind of business this has made. So we just waits to be seen that how they are going to bring back the grabber and how good it is going to be. Okay, we had a very good boogeyman which came in the past 10 years, but it kind of fizzled out. That was the collector. The collector was a very good boogeyman. Number one, and there were two movies made on the collector, but they really didn't work with it. And the other one is, of course, Jeepers Creepers. The first two movies were great. We are really waiting for the fourth one. So I hope that's another good boogeyman we have. Uh, but along with that, I think the Grabber has a very very bright future in horror movies. Um, just waiting um, for the sequel, and I think you all can um, watch the Black Phone now. I know that came to the halls, just went away, nobody watched it. Um, I'm not going to tell you how you can get hold of the Black Phone. Try to be a little inventive. You will definitely get hold of it. And it's a movie which is worth watching. So, thank you. That was my discussion on the Black Phone and why I feel it has done a lot of good business. And please go ahead and watch it when you do get some time. Thoda hatke horror movie, That is what I felt it was. And establishing an incredible boogeyman, which has a very bright future. This movie is running because of the grabber, because of the boogeyman, because of the mask, because of just his presence and everything. Okay, um, wish it could have been a little better. I felt the climax and everything. I thought it was a little rushed at the very end. Okay, bye. Take care.